I'm automotive journalist Guy, here standing next to the 2012 Jeep Wrangler Unlimited Sahara. Oh, what's that? I'm not talking into a microphone, I'm talking into my iPhone. What? Oh, I guess it's because this is what we do. Be back in a second from the car. Kevin Gordon here from MotoSavant.com with a video review of the 2012 Jeep Wrangler Unlimited Sahara Edition. Names of cars just continue to get longer. So what does all that mean? So this is the 2012 Jeep Wrangler. Unlimited means it's the four-door version, front and back seats. 4 doors. And the Sahara is the model edition. The Sahara is about the mid-level of the Wrangler. So it starts with base / sport model. It doesn't get you much. You then can get the sport model with air conditioning. Next up is this, which is the Sahara edition. This one has a bunch of extras and optionals that we'll go through in a second. Above this, I believe, is the base Rubicon. And then the Arctic. And then above that is the Call of Duty World at War Modern Warfare version, which is the Rubicon with a bunch of extra stuff as well. So what can I tell you from an initial impressions perspective? Well, one, I'm going to save you an enormous amount of time. If you're really, really interested in buying a Jeep Wrangler as an everyday driver, only on the highways, don't. It's not the car to do that with. Now, with that being said, the 2012 Wrangler with the updated Pentastar V6 in it, and as this model is appointed with leather seats and the removable hardtop roof, is dramatically better than old Wranglers used to be. The new engine really is very nice. The new Pentastar in the Jeep, you can't complain about the fact that it doesn't quite make as much torque off of idle as the old version. It's a great engine, and it does a lot of favors for the Wrangler. You know, the fuel economy is much improved. The acceleration's actually enjoyable. From a ride and handling perspective, though, you're still dealing with something that's got, real axles front and back. And Jeep with the Wrangler isn't trying to make it a handling sports car. It's a wallowy, wiggly thing when you really get down to it, that on back roads hops around a bit, and on the highway isn't a great place to spend time. But that's not the point of this thing. So again, I'll say it twice because it's worth saying twice. If you're looking to buy this to drive around every day, only on the roads, as some kind of image statement, good for you. I would highly recommend against it. There's a lot more, all-wheel drivey, SUV-y things that you can get compared to a Jeep. I mean, one big thing is Jeeps, to get them to look the way they do, they've got the wheels stuck way out far. The actual side of the Jeep's here, but the edge of the wheel is out another 12 or 13 inches, which makes the interior volume in here quite small. Again, why do that? Because it's good off-road. So here's where I'll plug our other video. We've actually had the chance to take the Jeep to a real off-road park to use it off-road. And in that, it's wonderful. If you live at the beach or in the desert or in a place where you get to use it off-road, some of the times you need a good all-wheel drive system. You really want something that's a very livable convertible. I mean, I will say this new hardtop that's on the Jeep, it's as quiet as I've ever been in a Jeep. You get power windows that are automatic down. I mean, in some ways, these things are sacrilege, but very nice creature comforts all at the same time. Speaking of creature comforts, I did want to stop and go through exactly the build sheet on this thing, because it's got a pile of options long enough that I could never remember them well enough to give them to you. So the base of the Wrangler Unlimited Sahara 4x4 is $30,745. This one also has leather heated bucket seats for $900. The connectivity group, which is $385, that gets you the USB port here, which works quite well. The 5-speed automatic transmission with hill descent control is $1,125. Now I have to admit, I miss having a Jeep with a manual transmission, and I missed it even more when I was off-road. But it does work quite well, and you know, it's only a 5-speed unit, but it's got the manual control. That works okay. No real complaints. This one does have the track lock limited slip rear differential in it as well, which means that for off-road purposes, at least you get some kind of positive traction in the rear end. The top is a body color 3-piece hardtop, which is $1,715. This one also has the 430 media center, which is $1,035, and it has remote start. Destination's $800 for a grand total of $37,200. Okay. So again, there's not a huge amount of on-the-road driving impressions I feel like it's reasonable to give you for this, because it's, you know, livable. I'll be honest with you, if you took it back in time to 1950, everybody would think you were an absolute genius. But in today's world on the road, there's a lot more options out there that are nicer to drive, especially when you get to $37,000. But there's very few that are as capable off-road. So take a look at the other video we have for that part, and if you'd like, I'll walk you through some of the other features and tweaks in here that I thought were interesting. So this Jeep is equipped with Chrysler's 430 navigation setup, and the 430 is differentiated from the 720, I believe, by the fact that it has things like Sirius Radio, but it doesn't have, you know, the traffic indicators on the nav screen. Interacting with the nav is very standard Chrysler, right? Most of it's done through the actual touchscreen. All of that can be done while you're actually driving, and even pairing a phone when you want to do it, which is a reasonably simple process. It does the funny thing of asking you, are you the passenger? And you can say, yes, I'm the passenger, and then it'll let you continue to go through and pair the phone while you're driving it. The button layouts here, you get cruise control over here like you do on all Chryslers. You get voice control, phone, and information display up there with these buttons. Behind the steering wheel, for those of you who haven't had the chance to drive a Chrysler recently, or a Jeep, or a Dodge, or a Ram, or anything else in the Chrysler group, you get volume control over here. So you can turn up the volume and turn it back down. You press the little button in the middle to go through all the different media types. So over here on the left-hand side, you get tuning, and if you press the middle button, it goes through your presets. From an initial user interface perspective, this back button thing on the Chryslers in general is a little annoying. But if you actually live with it, it's kind of handy, because it makes it so that there's less buttons here. There really is very little you need to go over here and do as far as dealing with media is concerned. So, you know, there's a bit of a trade-off there. How do you judge what's a good interface and what's a bad one? You know, Chrysler's is simple from a button perspective, but it works. The nav itself is fine. You know, it's a mid-range system in today's world. The screen's not low res, it's not ultra high res as well. The good news is it does work with polarized sunglass. You know, from navigating some of the menu stuff, touchscreens versus knobs becomes a whole debate. The stereo itself is Infinity branded. I believe it's 385 watts, somewhere right around there. You get tweeters up here, speakers in the doors, speakers up here. You get a subwoofer in the back and its own little pod. It works as well as it's going to. I mean, it's not super impressive sounding, but for it being in something that's really as open as a Jeep, and let's face it, you know, made out of a bunch of plastic, I can't really complain too much about it, I suppose. The seats themselves, you know, from a comfort perspective, they're height adjustable in this model. tilt front and back and slide. The steering wheel's fixed position. Driving position wise, it's pretty comfortable. I mean, the one thing you can is see out of here quite well. You get good visibility. There's no real blind spots. All these pillars are small enough they're not in your way. The seat's not the most comfortable thing I've ever sat in. I'm a big person on lots of thigh support. Don't really get that in here, and it's a little mushy is the way a lot of Chrysler's products are these days. But it hasn't caused any parts that are vital to go numb or anything. So from a back seat room perspective, you don't get a ton of room back there. I mean, I can sit behind myself in this, but for something with the exterior dimensions it has, it's not really utilizing its space as best as it could. Again, it gives up a lot of stuff for things like, approach and departure angles and lean angles and all that kind of fun stuff that really make it good off-road. One thing it does do well is the seats fold down perfectly flat, the headrests flip back when you fold down the seats. So, I've taken it to Home Depot, I've picked up stuff in it, that all works well. These, which are the removable roof, so it's 3 pieces. The whole back shell's one big piece. These are 2 separate pieces. They're a pain in the ass to take off. There's really no other way to say it. It's got this screw knob thing that's required first, and it's not like what you'd expect in something, high quality. It's something that's like a full turn and a click. You've got to turn the thing. I'm not kidding here. I'll start doing it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 47, 48, 49. It's still not out yet. It really takes quite a bit of time to sit here. Now I'm screwing it back in, as fun as that is. And then after you get those things out, you've got to start unclipping these doohickeys, which are these turny thingies. Then you're still not done because you've got to go through and flip these open to take it off the rest of the way. And then once you take them off, they're not exactly light. And there's, at least as far as I've found, no good place to store them in here, so you've got to leave them in your garage where there's a very good chance they're going to get scratched. It's the old T-top problem when you really get down to it. So there you go. A quick on-road impression of the 2012 Jeep Wrangler Unlimited Sahara Edition. Stay tuned and check out the other video of it off-road to actually see why you'd buy one of these. I'm Kevin Gordon from AutoSavant.com, and I will talk to you soon.